As we've been covering, the beef between Mehdi Hasan and Chris Cuomo is finally reaching its breaking point. As Chris Cuomo responds to a ridiculous tweet about Mehdi's citizenship, to which Mehdi says to him, "What the F is wrong with you?" What's up, y'all? It's your man World. Welcome to the channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you're not. So now, where did this start? They've been going back and forth for a while now, disagreeing on reality, basically. And yesterday I covered a video from last year where Mehdi joined Chris Cuomo on his show, where they both gave their predictions on the election and what would happen after that, which really showed how naive Chris Cuomo really is and how he takes everything at face value without looking further into it, which last month we covered when Mehdi Hasan joined Chris Cuomo again, when Mehdi Hasan proved that he was a liar based on his tweets.
So, Mehdi, one quick thing. I do not think January 6th was an insurrection. I thought that it was all kinds of crimes.
You said it at the time, Chris.
I just don't.
You called it an insurrection at the time. You did. You did.
No,
I checked your Twitter before I came on
never
in.
thought.
Okay,
Go ahead. Show it to me.
Check it out.
Click this video if you want to see that whole breakdown. But this new chapter in the squabble pretty much all started when Mehdi Hasan was interviewed during the No Kings rally, where he said this.
I think that if you can play church bells, you can pray the call to prayer. We are as American as anyone else and don't take any BS from anyone. I think that if you can play church bells, you can pray the call to prayer. We are as American as anyone else and don't take any BS from anyone. I think
these couple sentences caused outrage with the usual suspects, and it led to someone saying that Mehdi Hasan is not a true American. Aladdin 1983 will post, "So when this filth, Mehdi Hasan, received his US citizenship at the US District Court for the District of Columbia in 2020, they began allowing Muslims to waive part of the oath because it conflicts with their beliefs. He requested to waive a portion of the oath, specifically, quote, and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic." And he would continue saying this is what should have been in there. And he would end that tweet saying, "For your information, oaths are codified in section 337A in the Immigration and Nationality Act. So yeah, Mehdi Hasan, you are not more American than Gunther." To which Mehdi would simply respond, "This is false, and I'm more American than you." And this guy would reply saying, "Prove it. Do you want to put your resume against mine? Your resume does not prove your citizenship." So that was silly. And obviously Mehdi didn't respond to him at all. But you know who would respond to that? You guessed it, Chris Cuomo. Chris will respond to that saying, "Why? Mehdi has said he is proud to be a citizen. Maybe there is good reason?" At Mehdi Hasan ? Even though Mehdi already said it's false, Chris Cuomo just takes every attack and slander and nonsense at face value. To which Mehdi will respond saying, "What the F is wrong with you, Chris? You have my number. You can text me and ask about crazy right-wing troll tweets you read online. This is totally false. So why would you amplify it, Musk style, with a why? First the AI video with AOC and now this? What happened to your journalism?" First of all, Mehdi, Chris Cuomo was never a journalist. He was just a mouthpiece on TV. He's like Ron Burgundy. He just reads whatever the teleprompter says. He doesn't care. He's never gonna read it again anyways. And then, like a coward, Chris Cuomo would delete that tweet and lead to Mehdi saying, "So Chris Cuomo deleted his tweet amplifying bullshit MAGA conspiracy theory about my citizenship oath after I called him out below." But no signs of an apology from him. He just quickly deleted it and moved on with his life, leaving me to deal with all the hate and threats. To which there would be plenty of, but Mehdi does a good job of fighting back. Before we get to that, let's see what the people have to say about it. As someone says, "Mehdi, maybe you should stop treating a morally compromised hack like Cuomo as if he was a serious journalist. We know you pride yourself in journalistic collegiality, but Cuomo has built a record of trafficking in bigotry and disinformation when it suits his, quote, journalism." Somebody else would say, "Cuomos aren't known for their tact, as we see with the disaster of his brother's campaign. God, the current Cuomos are just an insane family of corrupt dipshits. Mario would be appalled. Chris clickbait and bitch Cuomo. It's really sad to see what he's devolved into." This is just the real him before he got to hide behind scriptwriters. Chris Cuomo is on a holy mission to obliterate his family legacy even more egregiously than his huge disgrace of a brother. They are both winning. Okay, now let's get back to all the squabbles that Mehdi Hasan still had to deal with at the same time that Chris Cuomo amplified that nonsense. Starting with far right-wing commentator Matt Walsh, who responded to and wokeness portrayal of what Mehdi was talking about, calling for religious equity, basically, by saying Christianity built this country. Islam did not at all, in even the slightest way. That's why we can have our church bells, you ungrateful little bitch. To which Mehdi gracefully responds saying, spoken like a true Christian and follower of Jesus. But Mehdi would then respond again saying 1 in 3 of the slaves who built this country were Muslims. They were here long before the Walsh family arrived. You know that if you studied history, but I know MAGA has an issue with studying. Oh, and I'm guessing you don't count slaves as people or Americans. And here's some evidence that backs up what Mehdi was saying. But of course, Matt Walsh would not like that and respond by saying, this country was not, quote, built by slaves, much less the 2% of Americans who ever had slaves to begin with. The vast majority of infrastructure and industry in this country was built by the labor of free men. Every Muslim country on the planet had slavery for exponentially longer and relied on it exponentially more than the US ever did, which is why Western countries had to shut down the Arab slave trade by force. Anyway, you're a British Muslim who came here 10 years ago, so I don't expect you to know anything about my country, and you don't. Mehdi would then respond saying, I had a suspicion your response would be, hey, slavery wasn't so bad. Also, there are no railroads without slaves, no White House or Capitol without slaves. Happy to educate you on our history. Muslims helped build this country long before the Walshes. And I'm sure you know that Mehdi saying our history really ticked off Matt Walsh. But not just Matt Walsh, another right-wing commentator, Will Chamberlain, will respond, our history? You're like a walking advertisement for restricting legal immigration. Not quote-unquote illegal immigration, not the criminals, not gangs, not none of that. But he's talking about restricting legal immigration. To which Mehdi would then respond to him, you're like a walking ad for the Ku Klux Klan. But those wouldn't be the only people Mehdi had to do battle with, because he had the audacity to call for America to be a religiously equitable place. He would also have to go back and forth with Texas Congressman Brandon Gill, who responded to that video by misquoting Mehdi by saying, quote, we can move here en masse and fundamentally transform the landscape of American public life. This is that white replacement theory. To which Mehdi responds swiftly, your wife is an Indian American, the daughter of an Indian immigrant. To which this guy Congressman Brandon Gill responds, my wife is a Christian and doesn't want to hear your oppressive Muslim prayer calls either. If you want to live in a Muslim country, go back to the UK, which is a crazy thing for a sitting congressman to say. But Mehdi responds saying, multiple sitting GOP members of Congress now sound like KKK wizards. The level of ignorance, racism, and Christian nationalism are off the charts. Good luck to the poor Muslim Americans who have to live in this guy's district. Which shut him up, he never had nothing else to say. If that man hates the people sitting with him eating dinner every day that share his name, what do you think he thinks about his own constituents that he doesn't like? A terrible time. So while dealing with all of this nonsense, Mehdi having his back against the wall and punching all the attacks coming at him, Chris Cuomo decides to chime in and amplify some of those attacks? Why would he do that? He could have just not said anything. Like Mehdi said, he could have reached out to him and asked him privately, but no. He wants to involve himself and then be a coward and delete his tweets. This is not the end of the Mehdi Hasan versus Chris Cuomo saga. They're gonna keep going back and forth. Chris is maybe trying to slither his way back on national television, maybe Fox News, maybe doing a fake middle but right-wing show with Stephen A. Smith. Who knows? We're gonna continue to follow it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Am I reaching? Like the video, and if you're still watching, you might as well subscribe to the channel. Peace.